I'm glad even the other stations are tuned in too.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any materials produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Into the Abyss with Peggy Gypsy. Peggy comes from a long line of spiritual mediums. She is also an afterlife researcher, a paranormal investigator, and she mixes her skills with her special gifts in order to seek knowledge of the unknown, paranormal, and metaphysical. Join Peggy live on Spreaker, Saturday nights, 9 Eastern, 8 Central. For some great conversation with awesome guests and some fun along the way. Be sure to follow Peggy's social media on Periscope, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For all of Peggy's sponsors, check out the links in the description. Here's your host, Peggy Gypsy.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Into the Abyss with Peggy Gypsy. Today it is Saturday. How awesome is that? I love Saturdays. Earlier today, I was in Niagara Falls, the Canadian side, and I was at the Rib Fest, which was really delicious. I ate some good food, which is, they had ribs from like everywhere. And I winded up going to the vendor that was from Texas. Their sauce was a little different, but it was so delicious. I really ate a lot. And I really enjoyed my Saturday. I'm not enjoying this heat wave that we're having. Last weekend, I was in Penhurst and it was so hot. The event was a blast. Bob did amazing. He accommodated everybody. You can't control how hot it is outside, but he and the whole Penhurst staff was amazing and treated us like princesses and prince. Everybody seemed pretty happy, and it was a great event, and I can't wait they're going to have it again next fall, and it's going to be a hit, so I'm excited to attend in the fall. We have a couple of people already in the chat room. Hey, Matt, what's going on? We have Darren, we have Sherry. Sherry, I'm so happy that you're on, and I really do hope that you start to feel better. For those of you who do not know Sherry, she is like the mother of the paranormal. She is like the best. She is like the mother of like the Tennessee Race Chasers paranormal people. She goes to like all their events and she's amazing. She travels with a coffee maker, which I love. That's so cool. And talking about the Tennessee Race Chasers, we are going to be having them here in Buffalo, New York on December 8th. Between 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. at the Statler City in Buffalo, New York. Tickets are on sale. We already sold about 50% of the VIP tickets. So people, do not wait till the last minute to get your tickets. Once we sell out, we don't think we're going to open up any more tickets, so don't wait till the last minute. If you do get your tickets before August 1st, we are going to be giving away a signed poster by Mike and Chris, and it's going to be personalized to the winner. So that's really exciting. I mean, I hope I get one too. I'm just a promoter, but I hope it's my event and Lynn's event. So we're definitely going to get one. And, I started this thing for the summer, which I been slacking because I've been busy and scheduling and all that stuff. So I do apologize. But it is the summer of experiences. And what it is I will talk to paranormal investigators, people in the field, and I just want to hear their experiences while they're investigating, how they started, and just, what happens when they go on these investigations with these amazing friends and people. And, there's a lot that people don't know that goes into an investigation. And I think the best best formula is having an awesome group of people where you connect and are able to do an investigation. I have my awesome friend, Kevin. Kevin, how do you pronounce, is it Otte or Otte? How do you pronounce your last name?
It's Otte.
Otte, I am the worst. Every show I just like slaughter people's last name. Like, I just slaughter people's last name. Like, I thought Mike Gonsalves was Mike Goncalves. I just slaughter people's name. And, everybody just laughs at all. They think it's funny, but I just kill their last name. Now, Kevin, can you let us know where you are so the people know how busy you are and how awesome you are?
Oh, goodness. Right now I'm in Louisville, Kentucky. We're actually on the set of our third movie we're filming this year. I think we did 7 or 8 here in Louisville last year, one in New York and one in Tennessee.
Oh my gosh. That is so amazing. Now, for you guys that don't know, he films these awesome movies that are on Lifetime. So if you watch Lifetime like I do, you are a freak like me, and we love those just crazy, my grandmother's babysitter's killer boyfriend's next door neighbor. It's like the best movies. I get so involved in the characters, and I feel like I'm one of them. But we'll talk about that later. It's more about the paranormal today. So, yeah, let's talk about, like, how did you get into the paranormal, being, like, into movies? Like, how did that transition happen?
Well, I started when I lived in Missouri still. I was a deputy sheriff there.
Wait, what?
Yeah, in Missouri.
I have no idea. How cool is that?
I graduated the academy in 2001, and I worked for a county sheriff's department there. And I started doing some side work with a private investigator. And him and his wife had a team that they were putting together. And we got to talking about it one day, and he's like, well, we're going to go investigate my brother's old house in Louisiana, Missouri. Do you want to come along? It's like, yeah, let's go. Let's do it. And so we went up there for the weekend, and, we investigated, and that's when I heard my first EVP, and it was just all hooked from there. So,
oh my gosh.
I was with that group. It was Cape Girardeau Paranormal Research. I was with them until I moved to Los Angeles in 2009. Mm-hmm. And met some people out there, and we didn't really have a solid group formed, and we started doing just, investigations kind of all over the place, different places. And we did one in Goldfield, Nevada. Ooh. And, I met some different people there from LA, and we all got along really great, and then got back, and a little while later decided to start our own group. So that's when we formed Watch Paranormal, which is the group I co-founded that I'm still currently with, that's based out of LA.
Oh, wow. That is so cool. So, like, what spots do you guys, like, if you're in LA, and, like, I'm going to be there in the beginning of September, like, do you recommend any places I should check out for investigating there? Besides Disneyland? No, I'm kidding. I will be at Disneyland.
With LA, I love the old Hollywood history. There was so much make it or break it. There's so many haunted places in Hollywood. They are harder to investigate, one, because a lot of them are still working, kind of like some of the hotels and stuff like that, where their private residence is. And, being Hollywood, it's always so noisy. So a lot of noise contamination.
Yeah.
About an hour from LA in Santa Paula is a place called the Glen Tavern Inn, which you can go stay there. That place is super active. It's been on Ghost Adventures. It's been on, I believe, Dead Files. It's been on so many shows. But we've always had activity in that place. It's a really cool place to check out. We've been, Northern California, we've been San Diego, Goldfield, Nevada, Virginia City, Yuma, Arizona. So we kind of travel. We love to travel.
Oh my God. Cool. So I'm getting questions for you. Sherry says, holy cow, the Madam of Purity Fall was incredible. Okay, listen. I told Kevin that I still haven't watched Purity Falls and that I'm going to watch it when we're done. So please don't tell me too much. But I do have a serious question from Darren. And he says, do you feel that the paranormal field is in the right direction, and what needs to change? Like, do you feel it's going in the right direction, and what needs to change?
The problem I see with, like, what a lot of them show on television is a lot of what they put out is what the networks want people to see. The networks, it doesn't seem like they're as much into the truth behind investigating as they are getting their views and publicity and stuff like that. So I think a lot of the stuff they experience does happen, but I think the network embellishes a lot as well.
Okay, so when you say embellish, do you mean like they're faking evidence, or they're just like overacting when they do get evidence, like versus like when we're out in the field and we're investigating, we don't have sometimes those huge reactions. Do you think it's kind of?
I can't really say it's all faked because I've experienced the same things that they experience. Mm-hmm. However, I'm not sure with the way it's cut together and stuff like that, if you're seeing it actual real time as to what they're experiencing it in. I do think that a lot of it is over dramatized, I guess you'd say. A lot of overreactions and stuff like that. Yeah. Because, I've been doing this for 11 years and I've never seen some of the people react like these people that do it for a living.
That is true. And, like when I tell people, when they tell me, oh man, I watched this show and, they're always, overreacting. I'm like, hey guys, at the end of the day, you have to remember it is show business. When you're watching something on TV, it has to be exciting. Right. Oh, Darren says the audio is gone.
Uh-oh.
Oh my God, let's see. For 1 minute. Me or him? Let's see. He says no audio. That's weird. Let's see now. Oh, but I think it's just him because Matt says it's fine. Okay, perfect. So Darren, I think it's probably just Darren's audio because Matt from Paranormal Buzz Radio says that he's able to hear both of us, and so does Sherry. But yeah, back to, people, like they kind of get upset at some TV shows, and I just tell them, hey, it is, when anything that you see on TV, it is show business. So it is going to be, people are going to overreact a little bit, because if you get the real reactions that we do have in investigation, it's going to be a boring show. We sit for 6, 7, 8 hours and
most of the times we don't even know what we captured until 2 weeks later when we're doing the evidence review at home.
One of my best reactions was we were at Greystone Mansion. It was Lynn Checkeye, my business partner and best friend, Sean Austin, and myself, and we were investigating, and we did an EVP and we're hearing it back, and we're just kind of like, oh yeah, whatever. And then he's like, did you hear that? I'm like, what is it? And we captured like actual a galloping horse. And I didn't believe it until I went on YouTube and I was like, how does galloping horses sound? And it was the same sound that we captured. And then there is when we had like that over dramatic screaming, high five in the air, chest pump reaction, It was like, I'm still laughing until this day because the house, the person who owns the house, he was like on the top floor in one of the back rooms. And he was just like, I didn't know what was going on. You guys were so loud. We were like high-fiving, chest pump. Like we couldn't believe it. Getting, evidence of a galloping horse. Like that's just incredible. And it was an awesome experience. Now, what experiences have you had that it's been like, that kind of just sticks in your mind every time you investigate? Like, oh man, that place was, amazing, and the experience that you had.
I know one was a Yuma prison. I know when we went there, we were actually there for a Paracon. It's been a few years back. And I remember we went there during the day and was taking pictures and stuff. And I walked into like the isolation cell, the dark cell. And it was, it was fine. But when you go in that cell, you have like a door, and then it's like, I don't know, maybe a 5-6 foot little hallway. And then you actually enter the cell. And we got back later that night and I went in. I got about halfway in and it's just like I hit a solid wall. It's like I could not walk any further. Wow. I had to turn around, walk out, catch my breath, and then walk back in. And that's one of the only places that I've had my name called out, in one of the cells as well. We were talking to, I believe it was a male in one of the cells about how hard it is to get cigarettes, and he said my name. And actually, that one's actually on our website and our YouTube page. If you go to Watch Paranormal, we have a lot of our stuff posted there. Mm-hmm. That was one. There's a place called the Warner Grand Theater in San Pedro, California. And when you walk in, you have a huge lobby, and then to your left, there's like a little.
Did you just say San Pedro? Is that like by the beach, by the port?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's where I'm going to be staying when I go to LA. Yeah. So
go to the
tell
Warner
me about this place now.
So go to the Warner Grand Theater, and this one, like me and Paul's the one I co-founded Ghostwatch with. We always say if you don't have evidence, it's a real cool ghost story. So this one's actually only a real cool ghost story because I don't have any video of it. But you walk in the lobby, and then on the left there's like a platform, and then stairs go up both sides up to the atrium. And I was sitting at the top of one of the stairs with a camera running upstairs in that hallway and just kind of looking down. And I watched someone walk up to the big mirror. And I was like, oh, that's probably, Johnny messing with his hair. Doesn't even know I'm sitting here. So I just called out. I was like, what are you doing? And it turned around, took like 2 steps and disappeared. And I was like, what the hell? So I run down the steps and look, completely empty. And then I find out everyone else is upstairs in the projection room on the upper level. Nobody was downstairs at all.
Wow.
And I'm sorry if you hear buzzing right now. I think that they're using the hazer and set off the fire alarm in our building again.
The joys of filming.
But those are a couple, real extensive ones. Actually, last weekend,
Sherry says to tell the story about the Octagon Hall 2 weeks ago, the slave cemetery.
So we was in the little slave cemetery at Octagon Hall, and you actually have to walk back this little path to get to the cemetery. And there's like 2 unknown soldier graves and a bunch of little slave graves. And I was sitting on a bench, and I got in a hurry to leave Louisville and took off without my Pelican case with my cameras. So I was just like, I'm just going to go for the experience this time. I'm just going to use my senses and just see what I feel. Yeah. So I'm sitting there, and everybody's to my right on the other side of this big tree doing an EVP session. And I watch one of the girls walk to my left, and I'm waiting for her to come around the second tree to see who it was, because I thought it was the girl with the light color clothes on. Mm-hmm. Nobody ever come around that tree. So I get up and go look. Nobody's over to my left at all. Everybody's still over to my right on the other side of the big tree doing the EVP session. But this one, when it crossed, it was not a black shadow figure. It was more of a gray.
Wow.
And it didn't even dawn on me at first because I thought it was her. I watched it cross, but I was just like, oh, that's her. And then when she never came around the other tree, I was like,
you were like, dang.
Yeah, then I got the chill bumps.
Yeah, right? Then you were like, oh, okay, so that's scary. Darren wants to ask you, what is your favorite device?
My favorite device is probably, I love my infrared camera. I have a little GoPro style IR camera, and I love it because 1, it takes a micro 64 gigabyte card, so it can hold quite a bit of footage, and 2, it's got the loop recording to where it will stop and start like every 5 or 10 minutes, whatever you set it at. So if you record for an hour straight, you don't have a 1 hour clip, you have 25-minute clips.
Oh, wow.
So it's so much easier if you catch something to, upload into something else and cut it out of a 5-minute clip rather than an hour or, however long of a clip. That's probably my favorite thing. I usually have that everywhere I go.
Now, do you use like Necrophonic? Do you use any apps? Like my favorite, I do use that, but I know some people don't like it or look down upon it in the business, but I do love the Necrophonic app. Sorry.
That's it. I either turn my phone off or leave it in my bag whenever I'm investigating. Mm-hmm. I never have it with me because I know a lot of times when you use a K2 meter, if you put it close to a phone, it'll set it off. So I think phones can sometimes put out false readings on other equipment.
Yeah.
So I either have mine completely off or don't carry it with me.
I think, were you in the room with us when we used the Necrophonic app at
South Pittsburgh Hospital?
Yeah. I know you guys ended up taking. You guys, after a while, they just took my phone. I was like in one corner of the hospital, and they come over. We need your phone.
Well, then Anthony downloaded it, and we used it at Shaker Village here in Kentucky.
Oh, how was it?
It was really good. They have a place there called the Tanyard House that you can rent out. It's a little bit more isolated from the rest of the village.
Okay.
And it has it's a full two-story house. It has 2 bedrooms with like 4 beds in it. You can rent it out. You can have a bonfire outside and that kind of stuff. But they actually have a book on the bookcase in there where people that stay there write down the paranormal experiences they've had while staying in this house.
Oh, wow.
So that was pretty interesting. We had a pretty fun night that night.
You did? Did you get any good evidence there?
Not really that I found. A lot of feelings, kind of a feeling of being watched a lot. We actually took some of the cast from our last movie and went down there for a night.
Oh my God! Why are you doing that to those kids?
They wanted to go. It's like, take us to do.
Why would you do that to them?
So we took
can you say, did the movie come out already, or is it still?
No, that one hadn't come out.
Oh man, why would you do that to them? I'd be like, you guys are bored. Let's go ghost hunting. Sherry says she loves the Spiritus app. Sherry, no offense to the creators of Spiritus. I don't like to badmouth people. But every time I use that app, it is so nasty with me and so vulgar and so sexually vulgar that I cannot use it. And people just are amazed at the things that come out when I use that app. And I'm like, you see, guys, they don't believe me. And I'm like, okay, turn it on. Let's go. Let's investigate. And the stuff that comes out is so vulgar that, I can't use it. No, Darren, I've never used the Dead Wave app.
One thing I would like to get, I do want to get a thermal imaging camera eventually.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I know a lot of people are going to the SLS. I'm kind of iffy on how much of that I actually believe, especially from what I've seen on TV.
Well, I have mixed review with the SLS. If you get the real one, the original, I think it's amazing. If you get the one that people are just making now, and they're making their own SLS camera that shuts off oh my God, it's the most annoying thing. It shuts off every 5 minutes, and it just shuts off, and you're like, oh my God, the equipment. And then you're like, remember, it's not anything paranormal. It just shuts off. And, I think I kind of like it, but then I don't know how accurate it could be.
Yeah.
That's where I come from with that, with the SLS. I'm like, okay, is it really the spirit? Because it's always the same thing. If you start using it a lot, it's almost the same thing. Okay, it's hanging from the wall. It's crawling on the wall. It's, 5 inches. It's, 7 feet tall. And it's just kind of it's just never, it's sitting on the chair, but only on, the armrest. It's just so, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I think it's great, when you're having a tour and when you're having an event, because you need, those visual things for people. But I don't know. Oh, Sherry says, Kevin, what was your absolute favorite place that you have ever investigated?
Oh, goodness. One of my all-time favorites is probably, there's a few of them, but I love Virginia City, but I really love Point Sur Lighthouse. Up in Big Sur, California. It kind of sits out on a volcanic rock, and you have access. So it's so quiet. There's nothing out there except an occasional seal, which you get to be able to distinguish their sound after a while. Oh, wow. But that place was super active, and you have access to the lighthouse, all the outhouses, like the innkeeper's house. The triplex is probably my favorite place there. Last time we were there, we were actually in the barn getting our equipment ready and stuff like that, and they had just finished a tour with some other people. And we're all sitting in there, and we hear, boot steps come up on the wooden porch, and we think it's the guy that was giving the tour coming to tell us he's leaving. So everybody actually stopped and looked at the door for him to come in, and no one ever came in. And the boot steps were so distinct. We all got up and looked, and there was not anyone around. They had already left and been gone.
That is the best thing when it's everybody that kind of gets that experience. You're just like, oh, did you hear that? Instead of just like one person.
Yeah, because we all stopped and turned to look to see who it was. Nobody. And, when you look out at the barn, you had the little wooden patio, and then it's just a path that goes all the way up to the top of the drive. And, it's not like anybody could have ran off.
Yeah, I mean, you would have heard the gravel and just kind of like people running off. That is insane. Oh, my gosh.
Love there and love going to Virginia City and just like walking around the streets and stuff like that before that night's investigation. And it's just so much fun there.
It sounds fun. So those are your top 2 places?
Yeah, I'd say those are my top 2.
What's your top 3? Like the last one for 3?
I really enjoyed, actually not long ago, back in March when we went to Bobby Mackey's Music World.
Oh, I've never been there. That is in my bucket list. That's one of the places that I want to go to.
I want to go back. I want to go back again.
Now, what did you experience at Bobby Mackey's?
I mean, constantly seeing like shadows and stuff like that, even out of your peripheral vision and stuff. And I know Paul's seen a couple like on the bar, almost like it was looking over the bar. Wow. But before we left, we was up on in the old kitchen area where Carl, the old caretaker, had his exorcism performed. And it sounded like down by the bar, like someone had took a water bottle and just like squeezed it between their hands.
Oh my God.
So we go look and, nobody's down there. And so I was like, well, let's go back up on the stage and finish up. And we picked up an EVP that to me sounds like it says, it's a male voice, and it sounds like it says, we'll see about that.
Oh, okay. We'll see about that. Oh, great. I'll be like, yeah.
That's what it sounded like to me, but we hopefully we'll get that one cut out soon and post it to our website and our YouTube page.
Yeah, definitely. Now, oh my gosh, Sherry's so funny. I think she's still homebound. Poor Sherry. I'm like, oh man, I feel terrible for her. She says, okay, so this is a funny one. She says, who is your favorite people to investigate? And he better say me. Ha 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 ha. Exclamation. Sherry, you're everyone's favorite person to investigate with. You're fun and amazing.
We need to just kidnap her and take her with us all the time.
I know, but wait a minute. Sherry, I didn't even have a chance to investigate with you in Tennessee. Remember she was having like really bad allergies?
Yes,
she abandoned me. I just realized that because I didn't know. I just had met you guys there that day. So she just abandoned me.
Now look what
I just realized that. Darren has a question for you.
Yes.
He says, if you had a chance to make a device for your investigations, what would it be and why is this for everyone? Darren has these good questions. I love it.
It does. I don't really know what I would make that's not already out there. I mean, your best tool is always like your personal feelings, mm-hmm. which you can't really. But I don't really know what I would make. Another one of my favorite things to use, though, that we used actually a few years ago on an investigation was I bought a 360 camera. And that was really good. And we actually used it at Point Sur Lighthouse, and we picked up an EVP. And it was cool because you could actually keep rewinding and turn around and look at every person and know that no one whispered it or said it. So it takes out like all the, because a lot of times on TV you'll be like, you'll pan past a door and it's open and be like, oh my gosh, that door closed, and you pan back and the door is closed. Well, this one you can actually turn the camera, see it close. But I love using the 360. The one I have, it's the Rico Theta. And the only thing about it is I even checked with the company, and that one cannot be modified to infrared.
Oh, no.
So if I could come up with anything, it would be to be able to modify like that kind of camera to infrared. No. I know they have some out that's got like three GoPros on it that can all link together. Yeah. But this one that's like the size of a remote control.
Oh man, that would be amazing if it could be modified. That would be like your perfect equipment. Let's see. Oh, Sherry says that, oh yeah, she goes, I party. She said, I took Benadryl and then I partied till 5 a.m.
I had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, you guys, listen. I don't want to say the name of the hotel, but that was like the worst experience for me. These guys were having so much fun while I was getting bitten by bed bugs. It was horrible. It was terrible. I am still traumatized. Like, I think I will never go back to Tennessee as a state. Maybe Nashville.
Oh yeah.
Maybe the G-Burg. Yeah, that's it. But then anywhere else, it's going to be like a small town. I'm terrified because of that experience. It was terrible.
But talking about like heavy places and heavy feelings, stuff like that earlier. Besides walking into the cell at Yuma, the heaviest place or feeling I've ever had is we actually got the chance to go to Connecticut a couple years ago and meet with Lorraine Warren and actually go to their house and in the museum.
Oh, wow.
And walking into that museum, it was so heavy in there, so heavy. And I was only in there for like 5 minutes and had to walk out and catch my breath for a while, and then I was able to go in for a little bit longer. But yeah,
like,
some
what
super.
did you feel like when you say, for the people who are listening, like, you know, like my sister listens to the show, she's not into like, you know, the paranormal or anything like that, so she wouldn't. For those people that don't know, like the heaviness, can like you describe that for them, like what's that feeling like?
It's almost like you walk into like, you know, say a small stuffy elevator or something that's hot and it's just like a really thick air and just kind of hard to breathe and kind of gives you a headache. Like you almost feel pressurized while you're in there.
Oh, that's really good explanation for it. The pressurized. That is so true.
Did you just feel like your whole body's just like the pressure's
yeah, it's just like for me, it's like that tight feeling, like everything is just closing in on me, like from every angle. It's just kind of like
it feels like you're holding like a weighted blanket just covered over you.
Yeah. Now, I bet you. I mean, everybody just when they think of the Warrens, they think, you know, Annabelle. They think the Annabelle. They think the mirror. Like, what other cool stuff did you see at the museum there?
The Sandy Hook demon was probably one. That's one that sticks out to me a lot. It's a, I guess you'd call it a figure that's actually carved into wood that I believe a hunter found in the woods and was given to Ed and Lorraine once they realized it was used for satanic ritualisms and stuff like that. But that thing's just creepy looking and has a super heavy feeling.
Oh no! Oh my God, that's scary. So you did see the real Annabelle?
Yes.
And you did hear about all the drama that was going on this past weekend, the last weekend, about the group of kids who took out. I mean, they had like a replica of Annabelle, and certain people thought it was real. And how do you feel about that? Not taking sides, but like
that's just not something you do. Yeah, that's. I couldn't believe that, you know, people would do that, but I guess they do. But that blew me away. It's like, you just don't do that. One, as soon as you know, fake anything or even fake something like that, you and your team lose any credibility that you've had for as long as you've been investigating.
Yeah. But I think like my booth, I was like right by them, and you know, I couldn't hear, so I can't say, oh, I heard them say this, I heard them say that. But they were very jokingly, people were laughing, and it almost looked like it was a joke, that they had a replica of the doll. I don't know where it went array that, you know, it got so serious and so, you know, I think it was a bad judgment on those kids.
Right.
It was just a bad judgment, and I feel, I mean, I've watched their social media lately, and they're very apologetic, and I feel that, you know, their apologies should be accepted, and it's going to take time for them to rebuild. They have a business, and they do like paranormal investigations and stuff like that, and I feel that it is going to take a while now for them to rebuild their business because of something so detrimental.
Hopefully it was a good learning experience for them to never do something like that again.
I mean, I saw it from my booth and I knew it wasn't the real Annabelle. I was like, oh, that's so funny. That's how I took it. You can tell the doll was oversized. The case was the same, which I found kind of odd. But I feel like they're going to be kicking themselves in the ass for a very long time for, whoever's idea it was to, let's do this to get traction on our booth. And
I agree. Yeah.
It kind of sucked because they seem, they seem like they're nice kids.
And now people are going to question everything they do. Is this true or not? They fake this.
They're going to question everything they do, everything that they've done, their reputation, because that's how it is in this business. And that's what I tell people who are not in the paranormal. All we have in this business at the end of the day is our reputation.
Yeah.
And,
And then it seems like anymore there's so many, because there's so many shows and stuff out there, just so many people like poking fun at it and stuff like that. It's hard for people to take it seriously anymore. Especially with like all the spoof stuff that's out and stuff like that. And, we've done this long enough that we know, other things exist. And, some of the stuff just makes it hard to, even prove to anybody that there is more out there.
Yeah. Like even when I do, when Lynn and I do our tours, like I try to tell people, this is entertainment for you. You come, you pay your $40. We investigate with you. You're part of the investigation. They're asking questions. They're holding the equipment. They're investigating. And I had a young lady who the whole time she's like, oh, I hope I get touched. Touch my hand. Touch this. Touch that. And you know what happened by the end of the night? She got touched and she screamed and was terrified. And we say, hey, this is fun for you, but these are real spirits. And you have to be careful what energy you put out there and what you're asking these spirits to do, because you're giving them an invitation. I'm the opposite. I'm like, nope, boundaries, don't touch me, don't pull my hair, don't touch my necklace, don't breathe on me. I have like a whole list of boundaries of like, you don't do that to me. But, people take it because they're watching, TV and they think it's so much fun and it's entertainment. They think, whatever, something touches me, I go home, nothing's going to happen. And it's like, no, we say a prayer at the beginning and at the end. We protect people because for them it's fun, but for us, we know the truth about this business. And
to keep it too with a lot of these people, one, not everything or something doesn't always happen every time you go on an investigation. And two, just because they don't have nothing that night, say they ask it to do something and it doesn't do it when they want it to do it. It's on its own time. It does it when it wants to do it. So just because nothing happens in the moment doesn't mean something can't happen, in a couple of weeks or, any time. They work on their time, not yours.
Exactly. And that's what I try to explain to people. I said, if we may get something, we may not get something. We don't come here and tell them, hey ghosts, hey spirits, perform. We're gonna have a tour from 8 to 11. We need you guys, get up, let's perform. No, there's times that people didn't capture anything and they're like, oh, this place sucks, I didn't feel anything, my friend had all this evidence, we had nothing. And then I tell them, hey, come back one more time and you don't know what could happen. And they'll come back the second time and they would be like, holy crap, I can't believe this is happening, this is like the best experience ever. And I tell people, you just don't know what you're gonna get. They're unpredictable. And I've been to locations that people are like, oh, it's the craziest location, it's demonic. And then I walk in and I'm like, where? Nothing's happening.
The first time we did the Washoe Club in Virginia City, we were there for 3 nights. The first 2 nights were empty. And the last night, we was going to amp it up a little bit. So we come to the conclusion, Paul's like, all right, everybody, let's kind of just go to the outside of the walls and try to corral something into the center. So everybody kind of like took a room, and me and our friend Vicky stayed in what's called the suicide room.
Lovely.
Yeah. So they all take off, and it's almost like the spirits were watching us and looked back in the room, because after everybody left and we're standing there, I picked up a voice that said, they're still here. So it's like I heard everybody look and then looked in the room and seen us, and it's like, oh, they're still here.
Oh, wow.
And then it got, we'll play games with them sometimes, like hide and seek, and see what we can come up with. And stuff like that. And sometimes that'll amp up and things will play, especially if it's like children's spirits and stuff like that.
Yeah, they do like to play. They like to play games.
So we'll do that sometimes and, see if we can't get something going. But we always do our investigations with respect and,
yes,
we don't yell at them, provoke them, that kind of stuff.
I don't do none of that provocation. Listen, this is what I tell people. Like, when I started investigating, my friend Sean, which I've learned so much from, he used to always make fun of me. He's like, oh, you're like the type of investigator and medium that's like bubblegums, rainbows, ponies, And I used to be so offended. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, it's okay. You just like the light stuff. And then as I kept doing it more and more and more, now it's more like I found my voice almost, where I don't do provocation, but I'm firm.
Yeah.
Like, when you're doing a session and it's like, oh, I'm a demon, I'll be like, no, you're not. Cut it out. Who are you? You know what I mean? Like, seriously. Or it'll be like, get out. And I'm like, I can't because I have 50 people that are here. So, no, we're not leaving. When before I would be like, oh, what do you mean get out? Oh, my God, I'm so scared. Now it's more like, no, what do you mean? No, we're not going anywhere. And, but you still, like how you said, we do have to show them respect because, they were once living. Most of them were once living, and
right,
they want respect.
Yeah.
Let's see. Hi, Matt. Hi, Peggy. Hey, Wolf. What's going on, buddy? Okay, so Darren says, do you think you could handle witnessing a full-blown exorcism? Heck no, but that was just me. No, I am Catholic, and I will not witness that.
I am as well. It would be.
No.
It would. No. I couldn't even describe what that could possibly look like.
I don't want to know. What?
I think if I did witness that, I would have nightmares for years.
I think I would be like institutionalized after seeing something. Just like the sound, the smell, the feeling, and what you're gonna see visually is probably gonna mess you up for the rest of your life.
I mean, I've seen a lot of things when I worked for the sheriff's department because I was also an assistant coroner.
Oh my gosh!
And that's
what was the worst thing that you saw as a deputy? What was the worst scene that you walked in that just that's gruesome, of course, that just sticks in your head?
I would say a suicide of a person that was in an abandoned house in July that was there for a couple weeks before found.
Oh. So he was just, or she was just, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh. In that case, will the body just kind of like decompose?
It was unrecognizable.
So it will just decompose faster because of the heat? Like the heat?
Right.
Oh, and it would swell up and like, oh my God.
Yep.
So when you were an assistant coroner, what was like the grossest thing that
would be...
Sherry goes, ew, horrible. And I'm like trying to imagine it. I'm so, listen guys, I'm like Miss Disney princess. I think I'm Snow White, but then I have this side where I'm just so dark and like gross.
Yeah, that would be it on that. But
So what was the worst thing as a coroner assistant that you saw?
That would have been it.
That would have been it. So what would you do with that? Like, did it just like, when they picked up the body, did it kind of like just fall apart? Like,
yeah, kind of. We had to be careful, like just almost scraping it into a bag.
Oh my God.
Yeah, icky. I think I threw my clothes away after that.
You think? I would be like, oh, that's so gross. Oh my gosh.
But I will tell you one funny thing that happened when I worked for the sheriff's department, and then we'll get back to the paranormal goodness. But there was a night when I was with my sergeant, and we were up at the north end of our county, probably about 20 miles from the office. And we were driving. I was riding with him. I had my soda between my legs. Reached down and scratched my foot, and all of a sudden, I just get like totally wet on my crotch. And I was like, oh, damn it, I spilled my soda. And then I remember my soda was empty. And then we started choking. And what had happened is when I reached down to scratch my foot, the bottom of my bulletproof vest, hit the button on my mace, and I emptied a half a can of lawn spray right on my crotch.
Can we say, like, but you didn't feel like that, the burn?
Not at first. But once the heat set in, oh my gosh, we were choking. Our eyes were watering, had the windows down. We were 20 miles from home. I was trying to get my gun belt off, put my hands in my pants to hold my pants off of me because I could just feel it like running down my legs.
Oh my!
Finally got home. I couldn't even wear boxers for like 2 days. I just had to straddle cold water in the tub for like 45 minutes and just try to get it all washed off.
Oh my God. That is so terrible.
Yeah, that was bad.
Wouldn't you have? But I guess it took you a second to kind of the reaction of.
Yeah, it took it
hit you and just
through
the burn.
Yeah, when it did, it did.
Whoa,
that was bad.
Listen, if I was your partner, I would have been so upset. I'm like, you get out of this car now. Like, you are just gonna hitchhike wherever you have to go. I'm like, how did you do that? Oh my God, how did you even explain that to your captain when you went back? Like,
they were. I had so many nicknames after that.
Okay, Spray. Oh my God, we have a question. Sherry says, how did you get involved with Stargazer Films?
The producers, Zach and Shane, I actually did a movie with them in LA like 4 years ago, and just stayed in touch with them. And then I did one with them last year in New York, and then they invited me to come back to Kentucky and then offered me a full-time position with the company.
Wow.
So I moved from Los Angeles to Louisville July of last year.
Oh, wow. So that is recent that you've been living there.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So what do you think about Louisville, Kentucky versus like living in LA?
I like it. It's so much more laid back. It's much more cost effective.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
Being from Missouri, it's only 4.5 hours to home now, so it's easy for me to go home and visit just about any time I want to. If I want to take a weekend trip back, it's an easy drive.
That's so cool. Now, let's see. Okay, so paranormal experiences. Which was the one that scared you to the core? And if that hasn't happened, it's okay. It will happen. It just hasn't happened to you yet.
Yeah, I really haven't.
You're like, oh, dang, this is real. Like that moment of like, oh my gosh, this is all real.
I really haven't had that yet. The only thing that I've really had happen that I know there's so much speculation on is sleep paralysis. Because out of my many episodes, which knock on wood, I haven't had any in quite a while, I've seen a tall male figure with a collared jacket and a brimmed hat.
Oh,
and I've seen that one probably 3 or 4 times. And I know the last time I seen it, I could feel like the bed pushed down beside me where he was kneeling and just had his hands like holding down my chest, pushing me down into the bed.
Oh. It's not good when you see him, right?
Yeah, I've seen him probably 3 or 4 times.
That's what people that, suffer from or experience sleep paralysis, they always describe him, which is kind of odd how they always describe the tall, and he's supposed to be really tall, slanky with the brim hat. How is it that everybody who has these experiences,
and that's why, so many people, always say it has to do with the REM of your sleep or whatever, but it's like how,
believe that.
I mean, I felt the knees pushed down beside me. I felt the hands on my chest.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same figure that other people are seeing, and it's just so odd that, a lot of the people that, just say, oh, it's, this sleep. I wonder if they've actually experienced it and seen it.
Yeah, they probably haven't and don't want to say it. Now, when you experienced sleep paralysis, were you, because I did read this study that the people who see that man are either in a low point in their life or they're very vulnerable stage. They could be stressed. They could be going through emotional things in their lives. Because they say there's so many studies about him, but one is that he comes into your life and causes sleep paralysis when you're vulnerable, when something's going on in your life. Were you going through anything at that time frame where he has shown up?
Not that I can recall, but I mean, it's been a while. I've had several episodes, but only like 3 or 4 of them I've actually seen him.
Oh, that's scary. That is so scary. That is so scary.
And it's just hard, something that's hard to explain. I know another time when I was living with my buddy in Santa Monica, he had a little black pug dog that I was sleeping in the living room couch, and he would stay in his cage, down by the couch. And he got to, every now and then, he'd be able to get out of his cage, and I'd wake up and he'd be like curled up in the blankets at the bottom of the couch.
Yeah.
So my buddy was out of town one weekend, and he's like, hey, if you want to stay in my room, go ahead, king size bed versus a couch. I said, sure.
Yeah.
So I'm in there sleeping one night, and I wake up and I look down the foot of the bed, and I see him jump up on the bed. And I was laying on my side, and he walked up and kind of curled up in the bed to my knees, kind of behind my knees. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I don't want to pet him because I don't want him to think it's playtime. I got to get up early.
Yeah.
And so he just stopped moving. So I was like, okay, I'm going to sleep. I could feel him there. He's fine. So I wake up, the next morning, reach down to pet him, and he's not there. So I was like, where'd he go? And I got up and looked. The bedroom door was still closed, and he was still locked in his cage in the living room. And I was the only one there that night.
I don't trust shapeshifters.
I was awake, and I watched it. I don't know if it was him because, dark room, black dog. I watched something his size jump up on the bed, felt it walk, and curl up in the back of my knees.
It's those dang shapeshifters. I'm telling you. I don't trust them. I don't trust shapeshifters. So if there's shapeshifters out there, leave me alone because I don't trust you. I just don't trust anything that can turn into, that's scary. That is so scary. That would freak me out.
That what the hell was that?
As you said, it felt like the dog. It was like, like warm breathing, like.
Yeah, it was his size and just curled up in the back of my legs. I was like, okay, I don't want to pet him because I don't want to play. I want to go to sleep.
You imagine if you would have pat him and it would have been some crazy, creepy thing. Oh my God, that's so. Sherry says like, oh my God, that is nuts. And she said, when are Peggy and I going to be in one of your movies? And then she puts tons of laughing faces. Listen, I just said that to him like before we started the show. I was like, when am I going to be in an awesome, Lifetime movie? I am pretty dramatic. No.
I'll tell Anthony to write you in.
And then you just got to write me in, just something super dramatic. And scene.
So for you, where's a place that you want to go investigate that you haven't yet?
Oh, wow. And
whoever's listening and live chatting too, where are places that you'd like to go that you haven't? Yeah.
For me, what is that? Is it called the Suicide Forest in Japan? Oh. Yeah, that place looks effing crazy. Mm-hmm. That looks insane. And then I think also like one of my lists, like US wise, is the Winchester.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to just go in there with like with a few friends, some cameras, and just leave us there for 72 hours. Just leave us, day and night, and just kind of get the feel of every room, the house, like the nooks and cranny. Darren says he would love to do Amityville. Well, Darren, I've heard for the right price, secretly, they will let you go in there. But make sure you walk with $10,000 from what I've heard. Show up with a good amount of money, and they'll take that into consideration.
Locally, I'd love to do Moon River Brewery, and I would like to do Hales Bar Dam and Marina in Tennessee.
Oh, that sounds fun. But I'm not going to Tennessee, people. I am boycotting. Unless you're Nashville or Chattanooga. I like Chattanooga. I am boycotting. Oh, Sherry says, I was going to say the Doll Island.
Oh, Island of the Dolls in Mexico. Yeah, that place looks super creepy.
But then this is the thing. Like she said that Josh Gates went there and had an episode. But this is the thing with me with that place. Is it really haunted, or is it just the dolls gives it a creep factor? So that's why I would like to go.
Hard killing. I'd like to do Myrtle's Plantation too.
Yes. You have the voodoo in there. You have the slaves. That's a recipe for an awesome I mean, I do apologize. I'm not going to say an awesome investigation. I do apologize for the horrible things that happened at the Murders Plantation, but that would be an amazing, amazing place to investigate.
Yeah, there's a lot of places I still want to go, and hopefully we'll start knocking them off the bucket list soon.
I know. I'm going to win the lottery, and I'm going to, just investigate, just have a list and just go everywhere that I want to go and investigate.
Internationally, though, I'd like to do Chillingham Castle over in England.
Oh, nice.
Chad Kalick did his documentary, A Blood Red Sky, over there.
What about the catacombs in Paris?
Catacombs would be awesome.
Yeah.
So many cool places.
I know. We just need money or like a private jet and grab your friends, let's just go investigate. Because there's so many places. And I feel like there's places that are popping up every day. Every day, there's Brenda, my sister, she says Alcatraz. Brenda, Alcatraz, I hear is pretty cool.
I've been to Alcatraz.
You've been to Alcatraz? Let's talk about Alcatraz. How was it?
I didn't get to investigate it. We just did a tour. I was actually up in Bodega Bay on a movie a few years ago. And we drove down to San Francisco on our day off and went over and toured it. But it was awesome. It's a place I'd love to go back to.
Oh, my God. That place must be amazing. I did Eastern State Penitentiary. I was just there last Friday. And, we did the tour, Lynn and I. $16. You get to walk around, whatever. But, we're investigators. So, I'm like, listen, I'm going to go into one of these cells. I'm going to get my necrophonic out. And I was having a little session. And people kept coming in and out. And at one point, it said intruders. And then 2 men walked in. And I was like, oh, shit. I knew that it was like intruders. And then they walked out. And then it said my name, Peggy. And I remember the first time anything or any app or any device said my name, I was so terrified. Because I was like, how do they know my name? How do they know my name? And now it's almost after a while, you just kind of get used to it.
I love when you pick up something that clear and you have it recorded and people's like, oh, well, you were just hearing things. That's what you just think you heard that. Well, let me rewind it and play it again.
And you're like,
I heard
it. I was at an investigation that actually, everybody who knows me, I go by Peggy Gypsy. Mm-hmm. And I was at an investigation and it said my last name, my real last name.
Holy cow.
And only one person in that room knew and looked at me. And I was like, no way. I was like, can you repeat yourself? And it went and it said my last name again.
Holy cow.
I was just like, okay, that's not good. Okay, this is not good when they're getting so familiar with you. And I was just like, that's not a good thing. Yeah,
there's so much out there that no one has any idea about. It's just craziness.
It's like, hey, I have your number. I know who you are. And you're like, no, don't know who I am. Somebody said, Sherry said Dracula's Castle.
That'd be awesome.
Said Leap Castle. That
I'm not sure. Where's Leap Castle?
Darren, where's Leap Castle? Where's that at? I don't know where that's at. I would love to spend the night at Dracula's Castle.
Yeah, that'd be wild.
That would be amazing. Funny story while Darren responds. I used to go a lot to New Orleans, right? When I used to be a flight attendant, so I used to do, like the trips and stay there I used to be there at least twice a month. And this was before I had my son. And I used to be like, if there is a vampire, like I would walk, by myself late at night. And, it's New Orleans and it's dark. And I'm like, if there's a vampire here, you have to give me 30 days. I want my hair nicer. I want to get a shape. Because if I'm going to become a vampire, I have to look good for the rest of my life. And my cousin used to call me when I was visiting New Orleans. She's like, so did you become a vampire? I said, no, stupid. If I'm picking up my phone, it's because I'm still human.
That's funny.
I'm like, I'm not a vampire. So they said Leap Castle is in Ireland.
Nice. Ireland would be awesome. I'd go to Scotland, too. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Those places are going to be nice. They're going to be really cool.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
That would be a cool place. But Dracula's Castle, I want to go.
I was talking
have dinner.
to a guy I used to go to the gym with, and he was from Britain. And we was talking. He's like, "Oh, you need to come over here and investigate." I was like, "Yeah, I'd like to." I said, "There's still a lot of places, here I'd like to go." He goes, "Yeah, but our ghosts are headless."
Oh, great.
Like,
We all
that's it.
love just, a body walking around, That's our favorite thing to see. Oh, my God. Now, quick question. We're already up to 1 hour. Did you watch Ghost of Morgan City?
I did not.
And the apparition episode?
I have not seen that.
Well, I did see it, and it was pretty amazing. I was kind of iffy, and then I met Jeremy from the show. I met him last weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and he seemed like he's a demonologist. He's an ordained minister. He seemed like a very awesome, genuine, honest person.
Mm-hmm.
And because of my conversation with him, I was more inapt to be like, holy shit, they did really capture a full body apparition.
Wow.
Because, like when you feel somebody and you're talking to them, you can kind of tell like if they're just bullshit and it's just TV or they're a nice, honest person. But, oh, Sherry, stop it. Sherry says, I do not like that show. You just don't like it because it's before Haunted Towns. I know. It's a great show. It's a great cast. And
you did ask earlier, when was the moment that
that moment.
I first realized that, paranormal stuff was real and stuff like that, like a holy shit moment. I know when I got my firm belief in psychic mediums. Mm-hmm. We were doing a residential case in LA for probably about a year. We were talking with this family and, going through, we talked to them several times throughout the year and, kind of make sure the story stayed the same and everything like that. And the last time we went, we took our friend with us who was a psychic medium. We told him nothing about the house, nothing about the family, never talked to him about it. He knew nothing going in. The family left the house whenever we got there. And he came in and validated everything we had learned over the last year down to the specific room and what the family had described happens in those rooms. Blew me away. Me and Paul's looking at each other like, did you tell him anything? It's like, no, did you? No. But he was so specific down to which family members that they say they see in each room that have, passed away. And that blew me away.
So that was your moment where you were like, this is real.
Right. To be that specific, it was just crazy.
That's, yeah. That is, to be, because, I don't, oh my God, I just hate bad talking people. But there's a lot of people who are not real psychics and real mediums. And
oh, yeah.
I tell people, just feel people out when you pay them. When you pay them for reading, feel them out, just see if they're real or not. But, yeah. So we're up to 1 hour. And I like to close the show with words of wisdom. So what are your words of wisdom to the listeners out there? It could be business, it could be paranormal, life, whatever you want it to be.
Paranormal wise, the only thing that I would really say is when you do go to these places, one thing that, I don't like is when you go to these historic places and they're all graffitied up, windows are busted out and stuff like that. Go to the places, enjoy them, treat them with respect. There's a lot of history in a lot of these places. And I know people's wanting to tear a lot of them down now and stuff like that. And it's just preserve that stuff. There's just so much to it. Just treat the places with respect. Get permission to go to them. Don't break into places and vandalize and stuff like that. And, things are a lot easier when you actually ask permission to go to the places and things just go a lot smoother. That's my advice for investigations. Just respect.
I love it. Yes. Respect the location. Respect each other. And, you'll have a good investigation. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And, Kevin, You are the best. You are
Oh.
extremely busy filming a movie right now. And I love you because you're my friend and you're like, I'm tired. I'm
And if
sleepy.
and if you guys want to check out, some of our evidence and stuff like that, you can go to our website, ghostwatchparanormal.com. Our YouTube is Ghostwatch Paranormal, same as Facebook and Instagram. Just follow us on there and, hit us up and let us know what you think about some of the stuff that we've captured. And when we do post our evidence, it's we don't just, cut something out and post it. We present it to the group first. Everyone has to agree on it, and then we'll post it if we all can come to the same conclusion on what it is and if we think it's putting on the website and stuff. So check it out. Let us know what you think.
Yes, guys, make sure you follow them and make sure, you like them, follow them on YouTube and all their social media. And I know what I'm going to do tonight. I am going to go on Lifetime on Demand and watch Purity Falls because I love all those kind of movies.
Let me know what you think.
Oh, I will. I will be messaging you because I know you're working. What time would you guys be done filming today?
We had a 3:30 call, so we should be done hopefully around 3:30 or 4 in the morning. And then we have to wrap out of this location, so I'll probably get home around 5.
I will be sleeping. But Kevin, thank you so much for taking time to, spend your Saturday night with me and everybody who's listening. And, I thank you personally, and so does Paranormal Buzz Radio. Sherry says, oh my God, awesome movie. Watch it. And she says she loves you. Guys in the chat room, thank you so much for your questions. You. And, it was awesome. Everybody was interactive.
Yes, much appreciated.
All right, guys, thank you so much. And always remember, be kind to one another. Don't gossip about each other. And listen, in the paranormal, there's enough money, there's enough ghosts, there's enough spirits for everybody. So there's no need for everybody to be... It's crazy. There's no need for all this drama and all these things. There's enough for everybody. Thank you, and have a good night.